Welcome to K-Wave 6 Radio, your show for all things positive, with your host, Kirk Spencer. Hello and welcome to K-Wave 6 Radio. Today I have a very dear friend with me. She's been on here before. And on Facebook, she's always posting stuff. And I said, why don't you just pick one of those posters and let's have a talk about that. So that's why she's here today. But before I do that, before I introduce who she is, like you couldn't tell just from the title on the program, there's an old expression that you always want to keep people around you that lift you up, that support you, and you can do the same with them. And Kimberly Parrish is just one of those people that I've known for years, and it's always been a supporting role. We support each other, we help each other, and as friends, we love each other as friends, which would probably preclude the fact that we actually do support each other. But I'm going to say this with the following, is the fact that it doesn't mean that we think exactly alike on every topic. And that's what a friendship is all about, because you can find something that you disagree with and you can have a discussion with it if it's a friend. And you come to a broader understanding. Doesn't mean there's going to change your mind, but you can have a broader understanding of what it is, because after all, we can only think of any particular thing within the line of experiences that we've had in our lifetime. So with that being said, welcome to K-Wave 6 Radio. Once again, Kimberly Parrish.
Well, thank you, Kirk, and thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Well, yeah, you deserve it. You know, like I said, we've been friends for all these years, and I just had to, if nothing else, just say I appreciate you as my friend. I always have, probably always will, and I enjoy your points of views.
Well, thank you. Same here.
Yeah, so as I asked you just a little while ago, what particular topic do you have in mind to start with?
Well, nature has been on my mind a lot lately. There's so much going on. One of my main things I'm thinking about a lot right now is bees. There's been a lot going on about the bees population dying off, and millions of them just dying at one time, and they think a lot of it's the pesticides and things like that they're using for plants and in agriculture. And bees, that's something that we cannot live without. I read somewhere, or there's a book maybe, that if all the bee population dies, that humans will be gone within 4 years of that time.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's people. I don't know how many of you know this, but bees are an essential part of our ecology, because without bees, they don't pollinate trees and other plants that flower. And if they don't receive pollination, they don't bear fruit or foods.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I was just watching the video. I'd seen it a couple of years back, so I don't know how far and wide this is spread yet. But they've been working on robotic bees that are solar powered. They are equipped with insecticides. So they can go around and release these insecticides, and they can kill what they consider to be a predator, so anything that comes around the area where this, I'm going to call them drone bees for a lack of a better word, they decide it's a predator, they can take it out, Now, I don't know what they said it's encoded in these things to keep them from hurting humans, but we know how well humans do with technology. There's always something that goes wrong.
Oh, yeah.
So what's to keep these bees from deciding one day that this human is a predator and do something that's going to kill it?
Mm-hmm.
It just another one of those little scary things that they mess with.
Well, if you want to go to one of those, I don't want to say scary movie, but since I already did say it, one of those movies, fatalistic movies, especially used to be popular back in the 70s and 80s, about mankind bringing about his own demise, and sometimes through germs, bacteria, and then robotics and all that kind of thing. Even iRobot, to a certain degree, they have this ability to control robots from a distance. And it maybe sounds strange, but think about your cell phone technology. How many cell phones are there in any particular given state, let alone the world? And you can communicate from anywhere to anywhere just by a cell phone. And we control satellites that are floating around in orbit above the Earth and all the rest of that. So it's always that possibility somebody could always program these bees, robot bees, to do something that they're telling the public, oh, it won't harm you, won't do anything, and next thing you know, you've got your house covered with robotic bees.
Sure. Or, some dictator decide to use them for his purposes.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody that has an evil intent with the best of product.
And it's very true. I mean, the first thing that came to mind when you said that was Pol Pot. How many people of his own country did he kill when he came into power? Imagine just having robotic bees, and you don't have to worry about sending man out to kill man. Just send the robots out.
Sure. And then you don't have to take blame for it.
That's true. Oh, we had a glitch in the system.
Yeah. Well, I just think that if we're going to work so hard for solar-powered bees and stuff like that, why not take all that technology and do what we should have done back in the 70s when we had that energy crisis? And we should be solar by now. Here in the United States and other countries, are far more advanced than we are with it. But, in all these decades, there's no reason why we're just now getting windmill farms and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Well, you just have to follow the money. That's all you have to do. Because if you think about it, in 1921, there was a car that came out. It was called the Detroit Electric Car. If you think electric cars are new, 1921 had the possibility of having an electric car. In the late 30s, front-wheel drive came out. It's nothing new. A lot of the technology that we have today came around from around the Second World War. Even Teflon was actually created over 70 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that since it hit the market in the 60s, the first 20 years of it was used in the military. Then they decided, hey, we can use this on pots and pans. So there's so much that we could have been doing, because even I think it was 1912, give or take, Nikola Tesla created the first wireless communications between New York and London. A lot of this technology has been put on the back burner to let basically the military, more or less, use it instead of us, because that's even what computers came about to be. Was they found a military use for computers, and then it went to the public. Oops, sorry about that. We had a little Skype problem. Anyway, we were talking about bees and technology and all of this technology that has been created, and in essence, we're talking about bees and the fact that the bees are dying off. I say this tongue-in-cheek, just so we can have robotic bees? What's the matter with nature's, if you will, nature's creation?
Well, you kind of look at it this way. The same companies that are coming out with the robotic bees are the same companies that produce the pesticides and all these chemicals and everything that are killing off the bees, and they know it.
Mm-hmm.
So who's to say it's not intentional?
Well, there's always been these long discussions about uh, gaining wealth through chaos and destruction.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, we went to war with Iraq years ago after September 11th, 2001, and we bombed the heck out of them. We got rid of some of our garbage, the depleted uranium. We dropped those over in bombs and in rifle bullets and all the rest of the munitions that we sent over there. And then we turn around and we send in private contractors to build up the country again. There is money to be made in destruction.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about. So if we can't make it, let me stop here. There's the question I've always asked, and I'm tired of what I see and whatnot. And we understand this from a point of view of investing in stocks. And we want to buy bonds, and we want to buy this and that, so our money will work for us. Well, you put your money into a company, and the company is saying, we have to keep our investors happy, so they have to keep producing something, whatever that particular something is, so they can turn a profit, and the profit goes back to them and to their investors. So where does this mad cycle stop? Because if we're not just building and creating something for the benefit of mankind, but to chase the dollar, then what is our ultimate outcome?
It's not a very good one.
Yeah.
Only way I can see that we can make a difference and change it is with our money. Fight our little piddly dollars with theirs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much with my dollar going up against a corporation, but if my dollar and your friends and cousins and your uncles, wives, brothers, mothers, cousins, we're all of us together, we can make a difference. It doesn't seem like it, but there was a march on Monsanto last year, and that there was a big fight that was won that day.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many they do that. You got the chemtrails. You look at people say, oh no, they're just a conspiracy theorist. Those are contrails. I'm sorry, but contrails disappear quickly.
Yeah.
Chemtrails, you look up and those things might be in the sky for another hour or two.
Yeah, or longer, depending on the wind patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see weird clouds and stuff coming from them, and it's just, no matter how organic you may try to get with your eating and buying your groceries and everything else, how can you really be organic when you got chemicals and fluoride and stuff in the water that's coming up in the water that we're using to water our plants, and the water that we're drinking, bathing in, and all that. And, it's coming down from the sky in all these chemtrails and stuff. So how can we really be organic?
True enough. With that, but I'm going to stop and segue that for just a moment. The one thing that came to mind while you were talking about that, and we'll get back to the chemtrails and whatnot in the sky, because, there's something that we can't, I don't know if we can fight, but the one thing that I was talking about on a person's show, a friend of mine's show not too long ago, was that we're complaining about GMOs, and you want to be able to know whether the GMOs are in the food, and going, continue the fight. But until the fight has been won, there's a way to actually sidestep that. Buy your food from markets. Open air markets. Down here, that's what we have, open air markets. Yeah, we have grocery stores and whatnot, but those who really care just go to the open air markets. People that grow their own foods in their own property and turn around and sell it at the markets.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the United States, you have grocery stores that are made for organic, or selling organic produce and products, and you pretty much can bank on their foods are organic. Now, one of them in particular has been forced to sell GMO food, but I'm pretty sure they put it in a section that just goes GMO or whatever. But on the other side, you have these people that are just independent farmers and whatnot. or just have some property of their own that they actually just grow their own foods and they sell them in markets. So there is a way to get around it. Yeah, so keep fighting for the labeling, but until you get the labeling, if you're really concerned about your health, buy your food from people that are responsible. And doing that from the major grocery stores is not going to really help you.
Oh no, all they care about is the bottom dollar. They don't care about our health.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's just, if you're really interested, there's a way to do it. Now, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to continue on. We're going to talk more a little bit more about chemtrails and whatnot. We'll see what else Kim has on her slate to talk about today. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, this is Suzanne Perry, founder of LoveShouldn'tHurt.tv. You're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio.
Hi, this is Amy Young of JSJ Phone. We are providers of junior iPhone, iPad, iPod, also Samsung, Sony, Nokia parts and accessories at very good quality and low prices. We sell to individuals and companies, have 3 to 5 days delivery time by DHL or UPS. We do delivery in 24 hours after payment confirmed. For more information, see our website www.jsjphone.com www.jsjphone.com. Contact me Amy Young mailbox emy@jsjphone.com or by phone 0086 134 1869635 by Skype emy.yang2012.
Yes, honey. This is Marlo Wright of mbymarlo.com, and you're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio.
Hi, and welcome back. Again, my guest today is Kim Parrish. And if you know her on Facebook, you might know her as Mama Mosley.
For this week.
What's that?
I said for this week.
Oh, okay. For this week. Yeah, who knows? Anyway, before we took the break, we were talking about, a lot about GMOs and other foods and bees. And Kim got into a little bit about chemtrails. So, what is your observations about chemtrails and what they're doing for us, and can we do anything about that?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what all chemicals are in it. I've read different things and seen different videos on it, but I can't remember. There's just so much stuff in them. Yeah. None of good. But, people have come out of their houses and found like a dozen of something, cars and houses and stuff like that, and people have actually had it tested and found out there's all kinds of nasty, toxic stuff in it.
Yeah.
The best I can think of is, I'm going to just say the powers that be want to depopulate, and what's one easy, quick way of doing it? You drop a bunch of chemicals on people and see what happens, and where it lands, oh well.
Yeah. One of the things that I have seen and read and seen is this thing, and there's supposedly a disease called, named for it, but some people are actually attributing it to the chemtrails. It's this little substance that gets underneath your skin and starts growing and supposedly even starts wiggling around.
Mm-hmm.
You know anything about that?
I saw a video about it, but, it was one of those I took with a grain of salt, and it was a while back, so I don't really remember anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have come up with a disease for it, but I guess we'll name for this particular malady, if you want to call it that. I don't know what to call it, a disease, but Uh, it supposedly has been attributed to chemtrails. So I don't know. There's one guy I saw that actually he took a car. No, he put out a glass or something like that and left it out overnight. And he found the bottom of his glass kind of coated with this stuff. Then he took it to a laboratory and he came with just what you're talking about. And this was coming from a TV news program. One of those times where TV news actually came on and just actually told you what was going on. But they could not. Well, they did study on it, and they found that it had barium, aluminum, and a bunch of other toxic chemicals. That and he says, he's out in the country, and he says, I don't have any factories nearby or anything along this line. So, where is this stuff coming from? I don't know. The only thing we can figure out is coming from these chemtrails, these trails that after a plane passes by, these trails of white clouds, white grayish clouds are still floating by, and I'm sorry, clouds don't come in checkerboards patterns. You know, because you got planes going east and west, the other one's going north and south, and you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are chemtrails. Those are not contrails. So, anyhow. Anything on that, or do you have another topic that you wanted to discuss there?
No, I was just going to say one last thing on the chemtrails. I know I came out of my house one day. My husband and I were going to go someplace, within a half-hour drive of our house.
Uh-huh.
And I looked up at the sky, and I saw a couple of chemtrails up there, and I saw a couple of regular airplanes flying around with the contrails, And I told my husband, I said, now watch these things, because, some of this stuff I talk about to him, he thinks, okay, she's kind of crazy, which I am, to a certain degree. I'll admit it. But, I mean, there's just some things that you see with your own two eyes you can't deny. And the fact that these airplanes were flying overhead and these trails were staying for an hour and 2 and 3 hours and the other ones were dissipating within a couple of seconds was obvious. So, open your eyes. All you have to do is look around and you'll see it. It's obvious. Mm-hmm. Think about it, research it, find out what's going on and what's happening in your world.
Yeah, just in case some people don't know. I don't know how you wouldn't know, but then again, contrails are condensation trails. In other words, as jet fuel is burned, there is a certain amount of water in it, and when it burns, it leaves a water vapor in the sky. And when it's because they're flying usually around 30,000 feet, give or take. Those water droplets crystallize, and that's where the vapor comes out, and then they crystallize, and then they just disappear. That's what water does. Chemicals, which we're talking about, is chemtrails. They are something that they're ejected either through the engine and or they have sprayers on the jets themselves or the wings, and those things are the ones that they're sprayed out into the atmosphere, and they just hang there, and then they eventually fall to Earth. So those are the difference. So if you're looking at a jet going by way up in the, it's a little dot that's flying around overhead, and you see a trail coming from the jet that doesn't disappear, that's a chemtrail or chemical trail. Just thought I'd throw that in.
Great explanation.
I'll try to keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple. You put in the last S yourself. Anyway, what do you think? I did this. I did a Thoughts for Growth on this past Monday, talking about because we were talking about it before we got on to the program today. We were talking about this was his name, Arnold Abbott. Give the guy a name instead of just the 90-year-old guy in Fort Lauderdale who keeps getting arrested for feeding the homeless. Mm. What is your opinion? I've already expressed my opinion about that on the Thoughts for Growth.
Okay. First of all, let me say, excuse my language. It pisses me off. That's okay. Not what I really want to say, but I'm going to keep it G-rated.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. This is supposed to be a Christian nation, founded on Christian ideas, ethics, and all that. I know a lot of people aren't Christian. That's not what I'm pointing at or talking about or anything else. I'm talking about the idea. One of the main things that Jesus talked about was feeding the homeless. You saw me hungry and you fed me. You saw me in prison and you came to visit, blah, blah, blah. Where in the hell did we go wrong to think that it's bad to help homeless people, to feed some people? I understand that, there's a lot of traffic where, some of these people are at. Then give them a place where they can help homeless people at. It's not like homeless people, if they don't have a home, they probably don't have a car to go drive to the most convenient spot to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's absolutely disgusting that they would pass a law to make it illegal to feed people, but now they pass a law, on the other hand, not the same place, there's different cities. I know here where I live, it's okay to panhandle in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to beg for food or beg for money, but you can't actually go out and feed people.
Yeah.
That logic just escapes me. It really does.
Well, I'm going to kick it back to the Thoughts for Growth that I did, and yeah, it pisses me off too. Matter of fact, I'm not sure, because I didn't really listen to what I said, but in other words, when I edited it, I didn't go back and, what did I say? Everything. I knew what I was saying, but the point basically is the point that makes me really upset is if you and I or anybody else goes out and works, or in his case, he's 90 years old, he's not working per se to earn an income, but if you're earning an income, or you already have an income coming in, and you're going, I don't need everything that I got, so I'm going to help somebody that needs something, probably even more than I do. So it's my money, okay? It's your money, Kim, and you're saying, I'm in the mood, because being honest about it, we're going to have to be in the mood to do something. It's like we're just sitting there going, I have to go do this. No, right now I feel like getting up and I'm going to help somebody. So you're either walking down the street or, as I did once in Arizona, I only lived there for 3 years, so I'm going to use this one example, put it that way. Then I was going to work. I had to be there early, so I was taking the bus. I prefer to take public transportation because all I have to do is pay my fare, and I get where I'm going. The bus breaks down, they send another one. So it's not my car. But anyway, I was in between two bus stops. I was waiting for the next one. I knew when the next one was coming along. So there's a McDonald's sitting right there. So talking about going for GMO foods, but okay, this was several years ago. And went in to get just a little one of those quickie sandwiches and continue on my trip. Two guys were in the McDonald's that were homeless, and they looked it, and they couldn't get served. And I got what I was doing, because I don't know if they were there when I walked in or later, but anyway, I walked over and I said, what are you guys waiting for? And he said, we're just trying to get some food, but they won't help us. And I went, well, what do you want? I want this. So I ordered it for them, paid for it, and gave it to them. The look on their face was just astounding. They were just so glad that somebody actually paid attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then turned around and helped them. So they feel like they're already invisible because nobody wants to make eye contact with a homeless person, because if you do, they might ask you for something. God forbid they should ask you for something when you want to just go on about your merry way. So no, they're human beings. What's the problem with, I earned my money, I can spend it on who I want, when I want, and I'm not hurting or harming anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the problem in feeding the homeless when you're helping somebody? You're not harming anybody. You're helping.
Yeah.
So, if you want to look at that from a common law basis, where's the problem? I don't get it.
Well, it goes back to, ethics and your morals, too. What happened to not judging people? not judging a book by its cover thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell just by looking at somebody that they don't have a sack full of money sitting in their car, or, a wad of money in their pocket. You don't know what somebody has just by looking at them, and it shouldn't make a bit of difference anyway.
Uh-huh.
A human is a human. If you see somebody in need and you can do something about it, is it really going to hurt you to help?
No.
I've been a waitress in the past, and I'm a stickler for service. Somebody doesn't come into a restaurant to hear you talk about your woes and aches and pains and everything else. They come in there to get service.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you go. And the people at McDonald's or wherever it was that these people were at, they should have been the same way. These people came in there to get service. It doesn't matter what they look like. That's not your business.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Thinking about what you're saying, I remember when I was living in Chicago. It seems like ages ago now. But when I was living there, we used to have conversations because I used to work in downtown Chicago. And one day we got into a conversation about how some people became homeless, and talking about not all of them just lost their jobs or were fired or whatever the case may be. We had this conversation, and we're talking about there's people in downtown Chicago. Now, downtown Chicago is generally called the New York City of the Midwest. It's just cleaner than New York City. But it's another financial and industrial hub of the United States. And the discussion went that some people that I was working with actually knew some corporate executives that actually just came into work one day, and they were in their office and they just said, the heck with this. They walked out and they were never seen again. But a couple of people said, yeah, I've seen one or two of them actually, living underneath a bridge or something like that. They just somewhere just gave up and just went, this isn't what life is all about.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to make their change. So it's not like homeless people are people that can't get a job. I've heard that one. Oh, go out and get a job. Yeah, well, that's not that easy in today's economic climate. There's other people that may be suffering from other problems, and it's not something that a psychiatrist or a psychologist can handle. Besides psychiatry nowadays, it's you have a problem, you go see a psychiatrist. 10 minutes later, without any kind of blood test or anything else, they've already prescribed you drugs for it. This is your problem. Here, take this.
Mm-hmm.
That's been in the media as well.
Yeah.
How can you diagnose somebody in 10 minutes and give them a prescription drug and saying that will cure your problem?
Well, yeah. And, a lot of the meds they give people, the doctor himself has no clue what the med's going to do to you,
Yeah.
So he's giving you this medication and doesn't have a clue what the side effects are. So if you go home and you trust this doctor,
She laughs.
and I've been guilty of it myself. I've gotten a prescription from a doctor, come home and taken the first one or two, whatever I was supposed to take, and then read the side effects. Read the directions to take the right way, but then read the side effects after I've taken it, and it's come back to bite me in the behind. I had a react. The 2 times that I did it, I had a reaction. And that taught my little silly behind, read the side effects and stuff first.
Yeah.
But the doctors don't have a clue what's going into this stuff, what side effects could be. Most of the time they're not even monitoring the person, like you said, no blood work or anything else. And so many of that stuff affects your liver and your kidneys and stuff anymore.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. And then, I happen to think that the drug companies don't care, because the more ailments they can give you, the more customers they have.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to that thought in just a moment. We're going to take our second break, and we'll be right back with my guest today, Kim Parrish. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Al Sussman, the author of Changing Times, 101 Days That Shaped a Generation, published by Parading Press. And you're listening to the always interesting Kirk Spencer on K-Wave 6 Radio.
Hi, this is Pat Kammer, author of Love's Voice Changes You, Book 1. And I now have Book 2, which is called Hello Awesome, Message from Spirit in Pat's Patters. Buy your book from Amazon.com.
Are you ready to put an end to thinking about how you wish it were and take action? Take this step to find out more by going to coachingbyria.com. And you can receive your free consultation session with Coach Ria. Coach Ria is a certified professional life coach with a passion to help make the difference in the world.
This is Belinda Farrell from Find Your Friggin' Joy at www.hunahealing.com, and you're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio.
Hello and welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking about a lot of stuff, and somewhere during the break we forgot what we were talking about. But we were talking about the homeless and whatnot. So, Kim, where did you want to pick up from there?
That's a tough one. You know, in light of events and weather getting ready to come up with winter here, you know, it's supposed to be pretty bad when they're already talking about some kind of, I don't know, Polar Express or something. I don't know what they're calling it this year. I know a couple of states have already gotten some snow. They were talking about possibly getting snow here. But might be a good time to stock up on some food, you know, even if you don't need it now, with the way that things are going with weather and stuff like that, you know, natural disasters. This might be a good thing just to have a real good supply of food anyhow.
Yeah, that's very true. I've been following one of my favorite people to give world weather, and if you want to call it cosmic weather as well. In other words, what's the sun doing and how is it affecting the earth and so on and so forth. And he's showing stuff from his different sources, which, you know, he puts it up in his videos, that you can always go find these sources on your own. They're all publicly available, because he's a meteorologist. He, you know, gives us the simple news in 5 minutes. So he's showing that on some of the computer-generated, or if not satellite, images, that the Midwest and the East Coast is going to be getting a lot of freezing weather, very cold weather, and is coming down the Midwest, and then is going to travel to the East. And while California and those states in the West are still dealing with warmer, if not hot, seasons. And as he puts it, this is not global warming, this is climate change. This is happening all over the world. There's parts where some parts are just like the United States. West Coast is hot, the East Coast is freezing its tail off. In the center of the United States, they're either freezing, or the weird thing that's been happening in the last 2 years is getting these tornadoes that go from literally from Canada all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So, yeah, there's a lot to actually prepare for. I think your suggestion is very wise. In these colder times, it would be worthwhile to stockpile and rotate your food through your house, and if something does come up, you've always got yourself some food, and if you've got enough and you can help a neighbor that maybe, you know, needs your help, why not?
Yeah. I know I've got friends up in Colorado that, you know, are off the grid pretty much. And one of them has been trying since July to find winter wood. You know, they've only been able to find a little load here, a little load there. You know, we've brought some up from Missouri, but you know, they had so much rain up in where they were, you know, do the foresting and everything, that they were weeks behind. I think like 8 weeks behind. on getting wood to the mills and everything, So if you know anybody that's living out someplace remote and you have a lot of wood, or you know somebody with wood, think about these people, and you might be able to get them some wood up there so they can, have winter heat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Living off the grid is good, but well, I'm not this is not a criticism, but I would suggest that you learn how to do it very well.
Mm-hmm.
With you're going up there with say solar panels, but you don't know how to fix a solar panel. Yeah, well, that's great, but maybe you're living someplace where that technician can't get to you to fix your solar panel. So it would be worthwhile to learn, if nothing else. I really don't want to say this term, but there's just some things just better said that everybody understands. Survival skills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're moving up there, and it's going to be, I know it's going to be a hard life. My brother was asking me, where are you going to be out, and you're going to have electric and look, we're not Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
I do intend to have as many conveniences as possible, but I will be prepared for the possibility that, there's a bad winter and the electric goes out for some reason, and have some wood handy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's just common sense no matter where you're living at.
Yeah.
Heat goes out in the city just as well as it does out in the country.
That's very true. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, we had a couple of power outages I think it was just over the weekend. And following this guy's weather report, this is when we've had these M and X class solar flares and a couple of CMEs. And these power outages just lasted a few minutes and power came back on. But you're not just looking at the weather, at least not just Earth's weather, because we have a sun that actually affects the weather of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So that, along with some of these flares and these CMEs, he's even got a NASA scientist that has been showing, his name is Dr. Wu Yin, who is showing the effects of solar flares and sunspots. I don't know all the details. I'm not pretending to be a meteorologist, but he's saying that the actions that are being caused by the sun are actually being tied to volcanoes and earthquakes.
I thought we were going to get to volcanoes and earthquakes sooner or later.
Yeah, I figured we would.
Yeah. We were talking about Kilauea earlier. It's supposed to be flowing, like we said, it's been flowing, for decades anyway. But something got the media's attention a couple of days ago to announce again that Kilauea is flowing and these houses were destroyed and all that. I know that there's parts of Yellowstone that have been cordoned off because the asphalt is melting,
mm-hmm.
which means Yellowstone is heating up, and that's not good because a lot of people know that's a super volcano, and it's long overdue to go off. And when it does, I don't know what it's not going to affect.
Yeah.
You see that a few years ago there was that, I believe it was in Reykjavik, Poland, in Iceland.
Yeah.
Sorry, that it all the traffic from airlines and everything was cut off for a couple weeks
mm-hmm.
from the ash cloud.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a huge volcano like St. Helens or Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
St. Helens, the dome is rebuilding back on it at an amazing rate.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that, but here's something for people to think about. If people say, well, volcanoes don't do much of anything, well, there's this one that I believe it was Indonesia, that erupted back in the mid-1800s, and it actually was recorded that for, I think it was 2 years at least, there was a temperature drop in the climate of the whole Earth because of the ash covering the Earth for that period of time. If you take a look at NOAA, N-O-A-A, which talks about weather, and if you can find it, if it's still there, You can go look up Fukushima and see that when that plant actually started emitting radiation, get my mouth to work, we'll be fine. They did a 30-day study on the radiation from satellites, and within 30 days, the whole northern hemisphere was covered with the radiation from Fukushima, which incidentally is still putting out radiation, and it was starting to go into the southern hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
So you're asking in a kind of tongue-in-cheek, what's it going to affect if Yellowstone goes off? The whole planet.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, by then it might not matter because all the radiation and the dispersant toxins and everything else that they've pumped into the ocean because of their oil spills, and I read something the other day that the EPA said that the oil just disappeared.
Yeah, right.
No. I can take a oil from cooking and pour it in the sink full of water, and guess what? It ain't going to disappear if I leave it sit there for 20 years. So
true enough.
It went somewhere else. Went back down to the bottom of the ocean or something. But what happened to all those dispersants? They don't talk about that anymore, and all the people that are sick on the Gulf from all that crap that they pumped in there.
Yeah. One reason why I don't like to eat fish anymore. Seriously, I don't.
Yep. Well, between that and the radiation,
Yeah.
we get back to a Bible scripture, and Revelations talks about the oceans and everything turning blood to blood.
Yeah.
And being toxic. I mean, it seems like humans are doing their best to get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. If God isn't going to take us there, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I personally have a theory that nature is not going to allow us to get to that point. Nature will take us out long before we can take nature out.
I don't know how any of this is going to happen. All I know is, as I've called it for the last 2 years anyway, the reset button is about to be pushed.
Mm-hmm.
And how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, I don't know. And quite honestly, I don't care. But I'll tell you the reason why in our closing segment, which is coming up in a little bit, but not right now. The whole idea that we seems to have a lackadaisical way of looking at life, and we want to hold other people accountable for all the ills that are going on in the world, which I'm going to get into a little bit more, like I said, in the closing segment, is, I've said this before, and I'll say it again here with you, and I hope, Kim, you have something to add to this, is that we can always point the finger at the bankers and the politicians and the corporations, the Koch brothers and everybody else. But you have to consider one thing. The police, the military, and everybody else are working for an income. Yes, it is nice to be patriotic. It is nice to go fight the wars that our governments creates for us to go fight and all the rest of that. But people are working not just from the goodness of their heart. Cops are not sitting up here and telling you can't feed the homeless because it's coming from the goodness of their heart. They're taking orders from someone. And as long as they're getting a paycheck and they can support their families, telling somebody to, hey, you're creating a problem for the world, they're going to, yeah, I understand, but if I disobey my orders, I'm without a job. And I'm sorry, my family comes first. Unfortunately, that's the way a lot of people think. And of course, there are people out there that they love to kill, they love to beat people up. If you've never seen this happen, just go hang out at a bar one night. Just any bar you want. You'll find somebody that wants to fight for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
But or just watch kids. Just watch them go down the street. It's a sense of pride. It's a sense of, that's my established persona, so on and so forth. So there has to be a way to address these issues. So Kim, before we go into our break, what do you have on that, if anything?
Oh, geez, that's a big one, and I really don't have an answer for it. The best I can come up with is I try to be the best person that I can be. You know, I try not to hurt anybody. I'm not going to steal anybody's property. If there's something I need that bad, I'll go out and work for it or save up for it or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems to me that that's a lot of common sense there. You know, if you're not going to go out and steal from anybody, you want to be treated the way you treat other people, then, you know, if everybody had that mentality, things would start to change pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, while you've taken that little pause in what you're saying, if you don't mind, I'm going to take our last break, and then we'll come back and we'll continue this and bring it to a close with some suggestions that we have for our listeners. All right, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Lisa Avebury, and I am with Sacred Introvert Retreat Tours. We're heading off to Glastonbury this May, and we hope you'll join us. So check it out, sacredintrovert.com. And I'm at K-Wave 6 Radio, and I'm feeling super honored and blessed to be here. Have a beautiful day.
Don't want to be afraid. Do you need a website or a webmaster for your business or hobby? A wordsmith for a research project, or for a script, an article, or even a language translator? Do you need an audio or visual project created or edited? Contact K-Wave 6 Productions at www.kwave6productions.tk for all of your website, writing, and audio and visual needs. Our rates are competitive and our services are excellent. That's K-Wave 6 Productions at www.kwave6productions.tk or email us at info@kwave6productions.tk.
Hi, this is Candy Leonard, author of Beatleness, How the Beatles and Their Fans Remade the World. And you're listening to K-Wave 6 Radio with Kirk Spencer.
Hi, and welcome back. We're on our final segment of K-Wave 6 Radio today with my guest, Kimberly Parrish. We were talking about just before the break and while we were on break about the purpose of bringing up all of the stuff that we've talked about. We've spoken about a lot of stuff today in today's program. And Kim was saying at the beginning, I don't know if I have enough to go for an hour. And going, yeah, once we get started, we'll be there. So we're talking about all these things that are going on and preparing for the possibility of really strange and dramatically harsh winter climate changes wherever you live, whether it be floods or snows or rains or earthquakes, drought, heat. Yeah, it's just going everywhere, and it wasn't like it was when at least Kim and I were children, where the weather was just fairly predictable. You've got winds that are coming from all over the earth, blowing in who knows what. A friend of ours over in England is telling me last week that the sunrise and sunset are earlier and later than they're supposed to be for that time of year. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. And some things that we can change, we should. And there are some things that we can't change, but we have to come to peace with those things. Such as we can't change sunspots and we can't make them stop, or whatever the case may be. So those are things that we have to consider that we cannot do. But what we can do, and what this show has been really gravitating towards, is how do we get you, the listener, to understand that there are things that you and me and everyone should be involved in that we can change. Such as Kim talking about, she's moving from where she is to Colorado. And just the action itself has caused people to go, hey, where are you going? Why are you going out there? And you answer the questions. It's not beating somebody over the head with a baseball bat or preaching to them, but letting your life be the example of what you're talking about and what you understand. So without me rambling on any further, Kim, what are some words of wisdom and experiences that you can share with us?
Words of wisdom, boy.
Wisdom is just...
Make this tough on me.
Yeah.
Well, like I said before, I try to be the best person I can be. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I fail miserably.
Yeah, we all do.
But help other people out if you see it. You see a need. If you have a loaf of bread sitting in your cabinet, and somebody down the street wants a sandwich. Take them a loaf of bread. You got a couple more sitting in your freezer or something like that. If you're growing produce, what's it going to hurt to take some of the extra stuff that you have that's going to sit out there and rot and take it to a neighbor or a food pantry or something like that? Something that's going to actually help somebody out instead of hoarding all of it. Yep. It's only going to last so long anyway.
True.
Don't depend on the government, because the government ain't here to help anybody.
Yeah, not unless you consider war to be something that helps somebody.
No, that helps themselves, though.
Yeah.
Bible says the Lord helps them that helps themselves, the Lord of war.
True enough. Oh, we have peace. We can't have peace. That means was his name, President Eisenhower used to say, the industrial, what is that called? It was the war machine. Military industrial complex, that's what he called it. Yeah. They have DARPA, which is that organization that actually develops new weapons of destruction. And it's like, if they put that much money into actually helping somebody, we wouldn't have all the problems. But okay, to kill, there's money in killing.
Oh, of course. You can't feed the homeless and put them up in houses or anything, but you can buy a new tank. Yeah. That would cost more than 5 or 6 houses for these people.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. They're not out to help the typical citizen. They're not out to help nature. So my best thing is plant a whole bunch of flowers. I'm even considering, once I move, maybe having a little beehive.
Uh-huh.
I remember that sign when I was a kid, say, all we're saying is give peace a chance.
Yep.
Now they've changed to all we're saying is give bees a chance.
Yep.
It's pretty bad when you have to worry about, are there going to be bees or some of the other things that some of the animals that we have to have. A lot of them are a pain in the tail, but some of them we absolutely have to continue to live.
Yeah, we definitely need nature. It was created for us. It was created with balance. And we as mankind come along and say, oh, we can improve on nature. Really?
Yeah.
You really believe that?
Yeah, I'd much rather see real bees. Where we used to live, I had a couple of bumblebees that would come around my house every summer. Some great big ones, And Terry would tease me about my bees. And when we moved out here, he said, so you probably want to take your bees with you. And I thought, damn it, how do you know I was thinking that? Because if it wouldn't be cruel, I'd put them in a little jar, bring them out here, and release them around the house. So after we got here, I was like, man, I miss my bumblebees. A couple of days later, here comes a couple of bees. He goes, did you put those in a jar and bring them out? No, I really didn't, honey. I promise, I didn't. But I don't know what got me on the bee thing lately. It's just really bugging me. But plant flowers, find out what you can do to help the ecology around you. Even in your own little bitty yard, if you only have a balcony, there's something that you can do to help nature. A little plant. One plant helps put little things in the air that we need to help clean it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, plants do more than just feed us. They actually, clean the air for us and remove other properties and puts oxygen back into the air. So if you're wondering where all that oxygen comes from for over the past thousands of years, now you know. And we're in desperate need of it because, well, corporations like to take everything we've got and leave us with basically nothing. And that you can find just about anywhere in news, and as I affectionately call it, YouTube University. There's a lot of trash there, but there's a lot of good stuff there too. Then again, there's a lot of trash in in big media.
True.
So you take your choice
like
where you want to find it. You have to search for it these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, you've got to do your own research. Don't take anybody's word for anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as many people have said it, from George Carlin to Einstein and everything, is question everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or as Einstein used to say, he says, I'm not really smart, I'm just curious about everything. And that was his claim to fame. He just wanted to understand, and once he understood, he published it.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that we strongly suggest, Kim and I, and we'll have some other people on here in the not too distant future. But yeah, it's been part of my show is I'm not always looking for the people with the greatest amount of fame or fortune. Those people may come along sooner or later. We've had a lot of people on the show that actually have something to say. If you look at even the last couple of people that have had on the show, two in particular, Al Sussman, he talks about the 101 days after the assassination of President Kennedy, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, back in 1960, was it 3? Yes, it's 3. Yeah, I know, I always want to make it another year early too, but it's 1963. And the name of his book is Changing Times, 101 Days That Shaped a Generation. And a friend of his, another author who wrote the book Beatleness. You think it's just a book about the Beatles? Well, if you actually listen to the interview or read her book, you will find that she is talking about what in that time was shaping a nation. What were we going through, especially those of us that are older that lived through that point? What was changing? What was changing from the 1950s into the 1960s, which changed into the 1970s and has been a progression ever since? These are things that you should at least understand basically. I don't say you have to become a historian, but where and why are we where and how we are right now? These are things that have shaped us. These are things that will continue to shape us as we continue to grow. And if you want to be a conformist, well, that's your choice. If you're looking at things from a point of view of it really is bad out here, how can I make a change? Get to know a little bit of your history and then understand where people are and why, and then make a change, starting with yourself. Because we don't need more preachers. We need more people out here that are doing things that are based in action.
Amen.
Okay, so I'm getting off my soapbox now. Kim, I know you have something there.
No, not really. I already said everything. Try to help out wherever you can. Even the smallest little gesture means a lot. The little things do add up.
Yeah, yeah. How's that expression going? The oceans are nothing more than several billions or trillions or whatever of drops of water. If you don't, I'm going to say it again the way I normally say. If you think that you're too small, you're too insignificant to make a change, try sleeping with a mosquito in your bedroom. Wait till it rains again and see how many little droplets of rain coming from the sky creates a flood in your area. You count for something. And like I said, you don't have to go preaching. We need people doing something that people can go, wow, I never saw that before. I never thought of doing that, or I never thought of that way. And just go out and do it. And don't want to go with, that shoemaker. I'm not going to say his name. But literally, just go do something to make your life better. And trust me, somebody will be watching you. There's always somebody out there watching you. And there's always somebody out there ready to criticize you. But guess what? They don't pay your bills.
It's the expression, people would rather see a sermon than hear one.
Yep. There you go. Let your life be an example to somebody who can actually change, who wants to change. Because if people don't want to change, you're just going to be boring them to death anyway. So with that, I think we're coming to the end of our show. So Kim, do you have anything that you would like to say in closing?
Thank you for inviting me back. I appreciate it, and I had a good time as usual.
Well, I'm glad you came along, and I'm glad you accepted the invitation. We'll probably be doing something else with you again in the near future. Before we go, just want to give the my usual little notes of announcement here. We have, or had, I'm not sure exactly at this point, this week we've been having problems with RSS feed, which is what gives us 5 players. The only 2 that are actually picking up on it, well, actually 1, is podcast.com. If I can get this problem situated and solved, we'll be back with Stitcher and iTunes and the RSS feed as well. YouTube is separately all together, so you can at least at this point find us on podcast.com and on YouTube. But even with those 2, you can still play those on your cell phones or your smartphones, your computers, and on your new car stereo or aftermarket stereo. You can always subscribe to the media players here to catch up with all of our shows without having to go searching, where are they, what's their, whatever. And you can follow us on Twitter and on Facebook, which will always give you information what's going on with K-Wave 6 Productions. And you can follow our blog and the website. You can find that all from K-Wave 6, that's the number 6, radio.tk. Yes, .tk. So that's kwave6radio.tk. And ask that you also support our advertisers. So if you missed anything during the show, you can always go to the website and click on the tab that says advertisers. Click on their thumbnail and it will take you directly to their websites. Also, if you have any suggestions, questions, and or comments, send it to info@kwave6radio.tk. Also, if you like, send us just a hello, hi. My first name is, and I live here, and I'll say your name on the air next time. Sorry I didn't get into doing that earlier today, but we'll get you next week. With that, thank you very much for being here. Kim, once again, thank you for being on the show, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Sure will. Thank you, Kirk.
Take care, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. Thank you for being a part of our listening audience. Stay informed of what's happening at K-Wave 6 Radio at www.kwave6radio.tk. That's www.kwave6radio.tk. All the best for you and yours.